Also remember, the best example there is of this is when Nee said that Akuma was, he said Akuma was mid-tier for 2 years in Tekken 7. And then Pakistan emerged, and then he says, Akuma is by far top 1, right? Everyone agrees. Everyone agrees, right? He wasn't the first one to say that. Pakistan was, and Super Akuma. And it becomes very obvious to everyone. But then, do you see Nee and the Koreans pick up and play Akuma in tournaments? They never did. They all said he was the craziest bullshit, but they never picked up the character. And it's because they didn't want to embarrass themselves. Because there is a tremendous amount of execution to Akuma. So it's like, as soon as top players don't gravitate to the character they say is undisputed top 1, you have to stop and ask yourself, why don't they do that? It's often because the character is more demanding than you think, you know. And that's why you also have to put some amount of credit on Nee. You know, all of Pakistan say, oh, top one, shit character. But Nee says, well, he's difficult. And Nee is correct. He is difficult. And that's why the Pakistanis don't play this character at the highest level of play. But it's also fair to say that this character needs nerfs, you know, so both are correct.
Very capable of more than others. Akuma has some insane tools that are almost flat out broken. He has the best 50-50 in the game if you have the execution. But it seems like people can't understand that that type of shit is reserved for a handful of Akuma players. And you most likely never even encounter Akuma. And the people who can do that are so few and far between. But anyone can pick up fucking Ram and be a fucking monster. Or Leroy. Or Ganryu. Or Zafina. But all I see are people complaining about 2D. That's what I think. I think people are biased towards them. But what, you're gonna tell me Leroy and fucking Ram are fine? It's 2D. Leroy and fucking Ram are 50 times worse. 50 times worse. My god, with Akuma and Geese, you need at least half a fucking brain. Yeah, do we have problems? Yes, but then let's just nerf them if we have to. But in my opinion right now, they're fine. And you know what? They require execution. Their gameplay is interesting. When was the last time you had an interesting character in this game? What, Lucky Chloe, Claudio, Leroy, fucking Ram, Bob, Leo, Miguel, Alisa? Praise the fucking heavens we have Geese and Akuma. Are they annoying sometimes? Yes, but they're fucking interesting. And they're hard to play. Yeah, let's whine about these characters you never see. When was the last time you encountered an Akuma? And don't lie. And when was the last time Akuma did a death combo on you? It's never happened to you. Or that 10-frame jab into launch. It's reserved for very few people. Leroy and fucking Ram are the characters you should be worried about. Because that's probably the future of Tekken. Those are the last two original characters. What do you think Tekken 8 is gonna look like? If fucking Ram and Leroy are signs of things to come, I would be way more worried about them. It's like, try to play Akuma. Try to do is, it is broken on paper. On paper, it's completely broken. Until you actually sit there and you realize you need unbelievable execution to do this. And when you have mastered that execution, wow, this character is like top 5. You could argue top 1. He could be the best in the game. But you're talking about very, very few people here that can do that. It's just not realistic for most players. It just isn't. And the statistics show this. We actually have Akuma's win-loss data. He's not doing well at all. He's like in the middle. He's actually in the bottom 25, I think. I'm just saying, when I look at the win-loss data, I see Leroy alone at the top. Top 1. And how popular is he? Top 7. And he requires no skill at all to play, which is why he is at the top of the win-loss data. Right, so what's the bigger problem here? It's fine if you dislike 2D. I'm just saying Tekken has bigger problems. Leroy and Fakumram, the latest original characters, they worry me because Tekken is going more and more towards simplified characters. Simple and generic movesets where they can do everything. That's probably very easy to design, I think, from the game designer's point of view. And as those two are the latest examples, that's probably what we're gonna get in Tekken 8. And this started a long time ago in Tekken 6 with Bob and Lars. And that worries me. When was the last time you got an execution character in Tekken? Like Akuma and Geese. When was the last time? Steve, Tekken 4? Dragunov, Tekken 5? Every character after that has been easy mode.
鉄拳もやってるんですけど、これ前なんかでお話しされてたんですけど、そのいい意味でこの強い技だなっていうのを振り回して格上に全然勝てたりする局面があるから、多分上の人は困ってるんですけど、でも今やってる人とかモチベ上がる若い子たちは本当にいいシステムだと僕は思ってて、
下克上できる。
そうなんですよね。だから。
Okay, you listen to Mainman, right? So I think there's actually some truth to it. I think they don't like Brian because, or don't tend to play him right now because there is certainly execution with a specific thing, but you don't really need it, right? Because you have Taunt, Heat Smash. But I think his game plan is more complicated. I think with Akuma was kind of like this boss character, the demon upon heaven, and he didn't really care about you. Like, he didn't really care what character you play. His game plan was simply to destroy you and worked against everyone pretty well. Now, I think this is an interesting topic nonetheless, because what is a thing that annoys me about Tekken 8 is the hate and disgust for execution that the Tekken developers suddenly seem to have. When you look at a character like Jin Kazama now, or martial law, I think it gets pretty obvious that not only do they discourage execution, they actively eradicate it. With this character, I want to basically open this topic a little bit. I know when we look at this character that the reward he got is a bit too much, but we will look at it. Just very quickly, what kind of character was Akuma? If you have not played Tekken 7, this might be very interesting to you. Basically, he played Tekken up until a certain point. Now, with what did he play Tekken? So, for example, he had a pretty good jab for some reason in this motherfucked game, and I don't know what the fuck why. 2D jabs recovered faster than normal jabs. I don't know why. I don't know what crack they smoked, but it was the case. I don't know why. So, pretty good jab, very good jab string. This is counter hit natural, but could be ducked. This gets very important in a moment. So, then as a mid check, he had a pretty solid down forward 1, 13 frames plus 7 on hit. Pretty good, pretty good. Even though it was -4 on block, it had some extensions. Back when they didn't smoke that much crack, and extensions were pretty relatively fair in comparison to Tekken 8. For example, you have down forward 1-1, which is a high, could be ducked and you would be launched. It's still -3 on block, so you don't even get a better frame, like better frame advantage or something. And you had down forward 1-2, which was just -13. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, back when like strings and extensions weren't like completely stupid. Now, in terms of lows, he would use, for example, down 4, which is a giga low. Like, it's an insane low. It is launch punishable, but it is insta high crush, 17 frames fast, and immediately controls the pace, right? You see this. Like, how fucking annoying is this shit? You get knocked down your ass, and basically Akuma is like, yeah, and now come to me again. Whatever, I control the pace. Like, very, very, very good low. Another low you could use was this. Back 4, very slow, no high evade, but +1, which would set up like a jab check or something, right? They need to respect this. Then you would use forward 3, which is probably his best mid poke. You see this, right? +7, frame traps in itself, good range. -4 on block, pretty good. Then you would use back 2, which is a homing mid. It's +8, which is giga good, but it's very, very slow. But it's a homing check, safe, and was a counter-hit launcher, pretty fucking good. You also had something in forward 4, which had not that good range, but nonetheless 17 frames, relatively fast, -4 on block, counter-hit launcher as well. And you would use something, so this is basically everything you need. Like, this character was very, very simple. It had a very, very small move list. Forward 4 was also pretty good. Now, I will note this. This is how you know this character was so fucking cracked. Because this move, actually for real, up until Season 3, I believe, was a counter-hit launcher. Yes, this move was also a fucking counter-hit launcher. Funny thing is, no one knew this. This move, sorry, it should work like this. Look at this. This move isn't even plus on block. It's one of those moves like Law Sidestep 2, which will just giga fucking clown you. Because it's actually not fucking plus. It's like literally neutral. But everyone respects the shit out of you because it looks like Akuma just wanted to lobotomize you with his fucking foot. I nearly forgot about it. So this was a fucking counter-hit launcher, which is obviously insane. But Akuma is one of the characters throughout his lifespan. He only got nerfed and he was still the best character in the game, which should tell you how sick he is. So forward 4, counter-hit launcher. And funny thing is, so what then did they do? So now it would probably give a knockdown on counter-hit, right? Well, let's find out. No, it doesn't do anything. It is literally the exact same frame advantage. Yeah, that is back then when they nerfed characters. Yeah, they don't do this anymore, right? Now they don't nerf characters anymore. Back then they said, wait a minute, this bitch is too powerful. Let's just make this no longer counter-hit launcher. What does he get? A knockdown maybe? Something? No, nothing. Yeah, back when they actually nerfed characters. And you had a very good power crush. This power crush was pretty cheap because you see that he takes a step back. It's a pretty good range, pretty good hitbox. Wall split power crush, one of actually the good power crushes in the game. Well, that is basically it for his Tekken stuff. Now, funny enough, I want to show the BS. So the BS is obviously this and everything down in the left, the meter. Now, jump was giga stupid. Now, why was jump stupid? Is it overpowered? No. But the thing is, when they designed this character, they were actually pretty smart about it, to be honest, because you would counter 2D mechanics with a sidestep, right? So a fireball, you would evade with a sidestep. In 2D games, you would jump over the fireball. Makes sense, right? So how do you avoid jump? People say you should anti-air it or try to jab him out of it. No. You should sidestep jump. Literally everything in jump has no tracking at all. Everything has a paper-thin hitbox. I don't know why this happened. Shouldn't happen. You see? It's super thin. So you should sidestep jump. But for some reason, and this is why I think this was a design mistake, it's not intuitive to do so. Like, even in 2D games, sometimes you air to air, so you jump into the opposing jump, but most of the time you use a button or you use a DP to anti-air, right? So people just didn't get this in the muscle memory because you literally freeze up. No one could do anything about this. You would even see this at the utmost pro level where people actually practice against this character. Everyone and their goddamn mother would freeze up as soon as this motherfucker takes off. Which is an insane problem because he also has this. Wait, didn't I just show you jump? Yeah, that's not jump, that is demon flip. Wait, it looks exactly the same. Yeah, it does, but listen. You see this, like, the grunt he makes? Yeah, that is how you were supposed to distinguish between those two. Many players to this day didn't even know that these are two different things. Jump, where he doesn't make a sound, and demon flip. Many people don't even know that this was a thing. So in demon flip, he actually had options, but get this. So in demon flip, he could do this one, or the higher one. And a window would open up where you can press options. So this window would always open up at the same time. So you could actually option select this to a degree. Where you would sidestep the throw, this one, sorry, which is a high. Or you would sidestep every other option. Because once again, all of this shit doesn't have tracking apart from the homing option. So you could actually OS this to a degree, but it was mad difficult and no one did it because it's like, you would just freeze up. It's just so insane. And you also had to distinguish life between those two. Like, it's completely unreasonable, right? Jump and Demon Flip is a complete design mistake in Tekken in general. They should have designed this completely differently, or actually gave characters anti-airs. Because the difference, why I mentioned that a certain window opens up, is look at this. Look at how goofy this looks if I jump and press a button immediately. You see this? So in jump, at any point in jump, he can do it super early or super late. You saw this? Press a button, his foot still come out. But in Demon Flip, look, I'm spamming. You see this? So a certain window opens up where all of the options come out. So you could actually counterplay this, but it was just too difficult because you had to distinguish between those two live, and you would have to not freeze up here. And it's super fast, right? Look at how fast this is. It's very fast, very fucking fast. So no one could do it. And you have another problem. So people froze up in your face, and now get this. Obviously, everyone off jump. Yeah, everything off jump is Giga Plus. +7. He's +7 in your face. So you would literally... You would see this, like... And people didn't know, like, oh, suddenly, oh, this isn't plus, but you see this, right? So people would actually completely freeze up. It's fucking insane. And the insane part about jump as well is... And good Akuma players like Super Akuma and all the other demons, like Atif and shit and others, they would literally hit confirm this. So if this hits, you see the frame advantage, right? So Akuma has no launcher, launch punish, apart from like 15 with like something like this if this connects. But apart from that, he doesn't have anything. This is 16 frame normal hit because here he needs meter with this. But he doesn't launch until 16. This is pretty bad. It has pretty abysmal range. You see this? So, but if he jumps at you, do you see the frame advantage here? And Akuma players, good Akuma players would eyeball this. Look what happens if it lands pretty deep. Yeah. Yeah, that's a launcher. Yeah, that is a launcher. And then you would do like whatever, you would, oops. The dash jab timing in Tekken 7 is very different. It's like pretty crazy when you, oh my god, when you play this game again. But you could just, and then do a DP and do whatever, right? So this was actually a launcher, so ultra dangerous, right? So this is part of the BS. Now we get into the Omega BS. You notice something here. He has 2 bars of meter, which is obviously fucking insane. Why does he have meter? Now the thing is, suddenly, all of his pokes get fucking insane. So this now, the 10 frame jab is a counter hit launcher. So every good Akuma player would do like basically this combo. And then anything, so this was a 10 frame counter hit G-Clef confirmable launcher. 10 frames. Same for his dick jabs, by the way. Yes, this as well. This was as well a launcher. Forgive me, this is quite difficult for me. Sometimes I miss these cancels. So you see, right? This is also confirmable. If you want to have an easy way, you can do this. So this is crazy. Then, best keep out in the game. I don't know, you don't need counter hit. Down 2. So you would sit here and throw down 2s out. And if it connects, the fireball will come out. The fireball doesn't come out. It's like a 2D mechanic. And you get a launch. Down 3. Now down 3 is the best low in the game because it is suddenly a fucking launcher, right? Everyone knows about this. This happens and you are fucking dead, right? But you can just do something basic, and most of the time you see this, right? 85 damage. Most of the time you would look at like 90 plus. If he wants to spend 2 bars, he can also do this. You can be like a Giga male and do like shit like this, right? Like then we are looking at more than 100 usually. And he also had something that is also quite bullshit, which was his focus attack out of Street Fighter 4. Now this focus attack, you couldn't use running moves against Akuma anymore. Like Dragunov couldn't use his running move anymore because he would just absorb it and then you would really fucking die. You see this, right? Now all of this is pretty fucking difficult because you need to do this cancel. So you saw this, I was +15. This is a frame perfect cancel if you hit it. and you need at least 14 frames to connect the back one, this one, to make it a launcher. But if you are insane and you get 15 frames, you see, this doesn't work at 14, which I just had. But if you have 15, you see, this gets blocked. But if you are cracked, I'm not cracked. I'm not cracked. It's quite difficult. Ah, there it is. So if you hit it perfectly, you can just kill your opponent. In tournament, most Akuma players would never do this because it's too inconsistent. They would do this. Yeah, they would just use a jab link instead. If they wanted to do this. So this was obviously quite fucking broken, but it rewarded execution, which obviously in this case is too much. But again, topic is, let me know what you think if Tekken 8 rewards execution like a bit too less or too small, because I think that is the case and it really annoys me about Tekken 8. Now he also had one more thing, which is the EXDP, which made this character fucking insane because this had frame 1 invincibility and you couldn't Oki this character. Like, Super Akuma stole so many rounds with this shit, it is literally fucking insane. And you couldn't Oki him. Like, you had to be really precise on your Oki, like impossibly precise. And if you fucked up, you would eat 40 damage. Yeah. You just couldn't Oki this character like anyone else, so you never got used to it. Now, because of the things I just mentioned, his punishment obviously gets fucking insane. So, for example, let's say you block the second hit of this, right? So you noticed I have a single jab, right? This is not natural. This can get blocked. But get this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is a launch punish, 10 frame. Yeah, this motherfucker launched you, even when your name is Heihachi, for 10 frames. It's quite fucked up, isn't it? And then, you know, you could get a fucking wall here. So, from a 10 frame, right? So this also goes for 12 frames with Kazuya's statue kick, for example. You're fucking annoying low, yeah. Akuma would just do this and would launch you. And extremely cracked Akuma players would do this. So, this character is funny because you see how fucking insane this is. Like, I mean, he could literally kill you. If you were very unlucky with this, this happened. So it's obviously fucking bullshit. At the wall, this was obviously completely fucking insane. Because suddenly this always hits clean hit, right? This low, for people who obviously don't know this, I should have mentioned this. You see that here, it doesn't say clean hit. So you need to be here for this to connect. But it didn't really matter. You would always get it. It's way harder to avoid than it sounds. So it was just free. And at the wall, yeah, that's already a 50 damage wall splat. And you would do something like this. Yeah, so you're looking at 82 damage from a low. Okay, from a fucking low. So this character was fucking insane. But why didn't anyone... Like, why did this character not get played that much? Because I think this is an interesting question. No one saw him. He was basically a complete... like legend in rank. No one ever played against an Akuma player. No one played this character, and I think his pretty brutal execution had something to do with it. Because while this looks like relatively easy, right? This sequence looks relatively easy. After this, you would do for example, sorry, I missed it. You would do something like this, and then you can do a few dash jabs to carry. Now all of this looks pretty easy. But it is actually really fucking difficult. And it is really fucking difficult to land it actually in a live match consistency. In practice mode, even in practice mode, it took me like weeks to get any form of consistency. And in practicality, it took like months and months. Because at the towards like somewhat the last years of Tekken 7, I don't know, I grew to like this character because I always thought it's like giga hyped if he just kills people. And it is pretty fun to do. But I think this is a form of balancing that maybe should return. Like, let me know what you think about this, because while this is like very disgusting, right? When we look at this shit, by the way, no excuse. This is just a design mistake. Like, this was a complete design mistake. I don't know what they thought about, what they thought. And this is obviously also disgusting, but I still think that we have something here that I wish to return. I know that this is probably pretty divisive because some people just don't like execution. They don't think you should get rewarded for it because it always depends if you are a beneficiary of that, right? So if you play Kazuya, you probably would like his execution to get even maybe a little bit more rewarded, right? But if you don't play characters that have that, you might be like a bit jealous or you don't want them to have a privilege when they learn the execution. But for me personally, I think Tekken 8 did pretty fucking disgusting stuff. For example, with Law, if you don't know what they did, I made a small fucking crash out video about it. But it really fucking annoys me. So let me please know what you think about this. While this character was a abomination, I still think that he had principles that I think belong in fighting games. And to see the on-purpose deterioration of that in Tekken 8, for me, is like it's pretty sad to see. Again, in his form, this was a bit overtuned, obviously, but I still think the principle should maybe return. Let me know what you think about this, because I think in general, Tekken 8 made so many things so easy. Combos are so easy, so consistent. You can always convert with heat burst. You would see crazy optimization with even niche characters in Tekken 7. For those of you who don't remember or were not there, Ayurichi's run in Red Bull Golden Letters is like one of the most optimized Tekken runs you could ever see. It's like so fucking optimal, and it's just beautiful to see, where you would literally see him play Leo and you would know it is him. Like, you would know it is Ayurichi. Like, you would just know it is him. And in Tekken 8, that is no longer the case. You know, everyone does the same combos, same sequences. It's so consistent, and I think maybe a bit more execution expression should return. But that's maybe just only my opinion. Let me know what you think about this. So to bring this to an end, I think the Pakistanis played this character and grinded the execution because they are obviously gods. And they also are known to play like King of Fighters 13 and shit, which is probably the most execution-heavy fighting game that ever existed. Probably, maybe. So they naturally can do this shit. And the character was just the benefits, the upside of learning this was so high that he was the best character in the game, undoubtedly, right? But with Brian, it's not only like what does he have in terms of execution. So he has some combos that are a bit tricky. The other one is Taunt Shit Upper, which you just don't need. Look at Low High, you just don't need that. It's just completely unnecessary in Tekken 8. Taunt Back 4 is still good and really good to have. But apart from that, like, it's more of his game plan, right? Brian's game plan is not that easy. While Akuma's game plan, once you have the execution, is pretty fucking easy because you will just fucking kill him with unseeable lows, 10-frame launchers, 10-frame counter-hit confirmable keep-out launchers and shit like that. So obviously a bit of an abomination. Once again, I'm not trying to like tell you otherwise. I'm just saying that I think I want a bit more, you know, reward for execution and a bit more player expression through execution in Tekken 8, because until now it's like severely fucking lacking, and it is really, really, really sad in my opinion. Let me know what you think.